Hi, my name is Steve Keller, and this video is designed to answer two simple questions. Number one, what is emotional coaching and what will it do for me? First, a little bit about myself. For the past over 15 years, I've been very passionate about helping people with their health. And in the past 2 years, I've started working more and more with people in terms of improving their emotional health, especially since it very often has a strong connection to people's physical health. First, I'd like to do a simple explanation that I find can be very useful in understanding what we do. If you look at my cell phone, I've got a Trio cell phone, and my phone, it's like my brain practically. I can get on the internet, I can do email, I can take videos, I can record phone conversations, tons of stuff. Now, I look at this phone personally, and my personal belief system says it was not evolved from an old Motorola flip phone. Clearly, it was designed. And the designer understood that very often devices like this, sometimes they freeze up and they quit working properly. So into the design, they placed this simple thing. I take the battery cover off the back, I take this little pointer here, and I hit the reset button on the phone, and the phone resets itself. In other words, if the phone freezes up and isn't working properly, I don't have to dismantle the phone and do a lot of complicated stuff. Done properly, there's a quick reset button. Similarly, I personally don't believe that I evolved. I feel I was designed, and in my opinion, I feel that my designer realized that you go through life and sometimes, you know what, you blow a fuse and you quit working properly on an emotional level. And what I found over the past 2 years is there are very simple techniques that, if done properly, allow you to hit kind of an emotional reset button that allows you to change emotions very quickly, which trying other techniques may seem almost impossible to fix. But using the right technique, if you can find that right reset button, boom, you can get some major results. So a little bit about my story and how I actually came to do this for people as a practice or as a profession, really. A couple of years ago, I have the good fortune of having a lot of brilliant friends, and one of my friends, Dr. Cheryl Townsley, and her husband Forrest Townsley, introduced me to something called jet testing. Jet testing is it's a technique or course designed to help you do muscle testing properly. And muscle testing is used by hundreds of millions of people all around the world. The concept is that the truth makes you stronger and a lie makes you weaker. Now, a lot of athletes use this, and their coaches demonstrate this to them in terms of sports psychology. You know, they have them stand out there with their arms out, and they have them think of very positive things, and they can't move their arms down. And then they think of negative things, and boom, the coach can push all their arms down. Similarly, a lie detector test tests physiological changes in the body to see whether or not someone is telling the truth or lying. Now, it's not admissible in court because it's not 100% accurate, but it does give you some more information to make a good decision on. Now, I use this technique quite extensively on helping people develop nutritional protocols that were specifically geared to them to make sure that they were very effective. Then, you know, being a professional networker, I'm always reading new books and listening to videos and all the best self-help people out there. And I found that there was one thing that started to be mentioned more and more and more, and it was a technique called EFT, which stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. Emotional Freedom Technique was developed by a gentleman named Dr. Gary Craig, and it's a simple technique where you identify the negative emotion you're dealing with, and you address it as a source of energy in your body, and you tap on some different acupressure points using specific phrases which are designed to highlight those emotions. And if you highlight the emotions properly, you can release them very quickly. And I started playing around with it because I thought it looked cool. And I really started getting some very good results with it. One of the problems with EFT is typically you need a lot of experience or training to help you develop the proper techniques for getting the right emotion, identifying the correct emotion, so that you can release it. If you're not identifying it specifically enough, it's like hitting the delete button on your computer without having a particular file pulled up. It's really not going to be that effective. A little while after that, my mother-in-law gave me a book called The Emotion Code. And The Emotion Code was written by a gentleman named Dr. Brad Nelson, and it identified 3 different types of emotional issues which very often become trapped in people's body, trapped emotions, heart wall, and hidden heart wall emotions. And Dr. Nelson originally started using this because he found that very often a lot of people's health issues had a very strong emotional root to them, and if he could identify the emotional root to them, the health issues very quickly took care of themselves. But he also found that by releasing a lot of these emotional issues, people started having major transformation in other areas of their lives. Now what I did is I was able to combine the excellent technique of JET muscle testing, the emotion code, and EFT together, and they seem to be very synergistic in how they work together. Now, what potentially are some of the benefits? This emotional coaching works extremely well on certain things, and for other things doesn't work as well as I would really like. It works very well for people who have a very strong negative emotions around certain things, especially certain experiences. You know, for example, a post-traumatic stress disorder type of emotion from a specific incident works extremely well. I worked with my mother actually in dealing with her mother and her sister being killed by a drunk driver. Her brother was driving, and she did 2 years of therapy, and in several hours of doing this with her, we got better results than she had with 2 years of therapy. So certain phobias, a certain disconnection with life, that's really what heart walls and hidden heart walls deal with. Consistent negative emotions. You know you should be behaving a certain way, and you just can't do it for some reason. That's where emotional coaching can really come in and help. If you're having problems relaxing or sleeping, it can be very effective. Also, one thing we can do which is very effective is if someone has a particular health issue, it's very useful to sit down and kind of go through in a very systematic way of what their major health imbalance is. Is it an emotional imbalance? Is it structural, nutritional? Are you dealing with pathogens, toxins? And what allows us to do is, instead of you running around trying to fix things based on what you think might be the problem, it allows us to really get to the root of it. For example, if you're having emotional issues and you think, oh, I just need therapy or counseling or medication, a lot of times I find some emotional issues are in fact more related to nutritional or hormonal imbalance. And so if you can get that nutritional hormonal balance fixed, then you can see dramatic results with the emotional issues. Likewise, sometimes you think things are hormonal or nutritional or immune related, when very often some of my clients see really dramatic changes in their health and their digestion and inflammation in their body, just dealing with the emotional issues that are underlying. So being able to pinpoint accurately what's going on with you and then dealing with it appropriately can sometimes be very effective. So I love doing this in person. I'm in Fort Worth. I also love doing it over the phone. I have a lot more information at 2 websites. One of them is dfwemotioncoach.com, and the other one is steventothemax.com. And both those websites have a lot more information, but I hope you enjoyed this initial explanation of emotional coaching and potentially what it do for you. What I like about it is I fully expect my clients to see results typically within the hour, even if it's pretty dramatic issues. Whether it's the complete inability to spend any time alone. I had a young woman who 30-40 minutes later, it was dramatic and life-changing for her. To someone who has a real compulsion to smoke, and watch this one young woman 15-20 minutes later, she could care less about her cigarettes. People dealing with anger or resentment. Someone's did something to them and they know they should let it go and they just can't. and to watch them go from a 10 in terms of the negative scale, boom, all the way down to 0, 1, where that doesn't bother them anymore, is a lot of fun, very satisfying, and I love having happy clients. So look forward to hearing from you and seeing some dramatic changes in your life. Thanks for watching this. Bye.